How viewers, today we're going to clean and service this Allaire VN number 12 from the Restoration Hardware store, which is a store. I was told that it's like a kind of an expensive furniture type store, so it's probably not somewhere that I would ever shop. I don't know if I mentioned this in the previous video of this VN, but the unit is disturbingly lightweight. It's got the weight of a decent plastic VN, so it should be much heavier. But anyways, let's see what it takes to get this thing cleaned up and lubricated. It's not easy. I can tell offhand because each one of these screws goes through a tiny little bolt and a washer, and there's like, you gotta be at least 8 of them on here. There's 8 of them. So I shouldn't say it's difficult, but it's not simple. It's going to take some time, and a lot of people won't bother with this. And these bolts and these screws are and the washer is so small that it's just not easy to work with. Clips that you open up are much better and should have been used. At least they're all coming off easily. It's nothing more than just a nuisance. Okay, so now the guard should come off. At least it looks like it's a very fine powdery dust, and it should come off easily. May not even have to get it wet. Okay, so the blade, we have a singular Phillips or common screw as the set screw, so we'll go ahead and remove that. Okay, that was fairly easy. I'm looking at the blade. No, it's definitely I think it's just like polished aluminum or something. It looks very cheap to me and up close. You know, from 2 feet away inside the fan, it looks like chrome, but I think it's just aluminum that was polished. Okay, so now we have more screws. Awful lot of screws on this thing. And it's got those pesky washers on there. So I've been told that the retail value of this unit is somewhere around 200 beans, which is outrageous for a 12-inch fan that was made in China. Outrageous. Typically these things, the fans of this style, seem to have the same old motor that everything else does. This one is looking a little bit different. Well, let's get inside and find out. Okay, so that released the front. Let's have more screws in the back. And perhaps that handle may have to come off as well. Nope, it's not looking like it. There's definitely still something. Oh, there's another screw down there. Can't even reach the screw. Okay, what do we have here now? How does this come off? Does it just... doesn't seem like it just is going to pull off. I think it's screwed onto something. Oh, there's a little Allen key there. That's what'll take it off. Well, it's an awful lot of screws, but for what it's worth, it seems like it comes apart pretty good. This is a very small Allen key. It's the smallest one in my set. Okay, that's good. Okay, so this is moderately stupid. It seems like the what's the problem now? Oh, that's the problem. It go through the bottom. Okay. Well, not exactly sure how one would undo that. Oh my, that's incredible. Huh. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Okay. I don't think that this will do anything for us. Yeah, that's so long. I don't understand how you're supposed to remove that. The reverse thread screw. Okay, so you can take that off of there like that, which is fine, but it's still way too long for the bottom to come off. So you're telling me that we're going to have to, that's going to have to come off of the motor somehow. I don't know if it unscrews or what. I gotta go get a ticker towel because there's oil everywhere here, which is ironic because there's no oil in the bearings. What, do they have some kind of a blackhead put the oil in here and he missed the stupid bearing? What a joke, the oil's everywhere. Okay, so now I don't really know how that thing would come off. Hopefully it just screws off. That's too small. I mean too big. That's going to end up bending the implement. That's too big. What is this joke? How in the world did they get this stupid thing on there? Does the motor open from the back and then you pull the shaft out and then... I mean, that's, even that would be absurd. Maybe I can do it that way. Maybe I'll open the motor from the back. See if I can do that. I mean, this is starting to get a little ridiculous here. Even this piece isn't interested in coming off at all, because it's, I mean, the amount of, oh, there's a second screw here. Okay, that's good. Now we got to figure out how in the world the just how the screw heads are on the other side. So I mean, I could. There's really no way to loosen the bolts because you can't get a wrench in there anyways. I think this piece must have gone on afterwards. That's got to unscrew or something. Has to. Because there's no way that this would come off without that being removed. It's impossible. I am so sick of these stupid designs. This is going to probably nick up the shaft here, but it's got to come off because the unit doesn't run, so too bad. Certainly doesn't seem like it's going to move at all. Now we're just why, China, why? Why must you do this? There's no way to hold the motor because the housing isn't attached. There it goes. You know, but again, the problem I have with this is that this is far beyond what the typical consumer would even consider doing to service a desk VM. You know, this is unbelievable. was the problem. Now this should come off. Now the cord is not letting it come free. That strain relief has got to come off of her. Of course, there's really no space to work with here. I can just push the wire through. Well, I guess I can a little bit. You know where the 200 beans went to this stupid fan? It went to the R&D team to design it so that nobody can ever service the stupid thing. That's where all the money went. I mean, they must sit there and say, how can we make it so that the consumer can't take the thing apart? They have to do that. There's no way that they just unintentionally arrive at such an erotic designs like this. There's no way. It can't possibly be accidental. Okay. There it is. Unfortunately, the motor does not have rivets. Looks to me like a very average motor. Looks okay, you know, the windings are still in good condition. Look like they're pretty nicely tied together. It's a PSC motor. Nothing wrong with it. It's just nothing out of the ordinary. For all that hassle, just for what? For what? It's ridiculous. Need to clean the shaft up, but I'm not sitting here doing it manually. Stupid thing's got to run so I can clean it. Okay. Is there any nicks on the shaft? Yeah, a little bit on the end. Let's do a little bit of sanding, so we don't have any issues with getting the bearing off. Alright, this should be good. Alright, let's get the motor open. More nuts and bolts and washers, but much rather see that than stinking rivets. Okay, motor's fine. Looks like a pretty good quality motor. It's small, but it looks like it was made relatively well. All the windings are wound, you know, tied up together nicely, and nothing looks cooked or anything. And this has plenty of hours on it. It does have the cooling fins on the rotor, although these are not. The ones in the back are not really attached, so they may or may not do anything, which is definitely has some comedy involved there. Well, let's clean this off. It's definitely all sticky and gummed up in the back. I don't understand what the deal is with why those fins are not secured. They're secured in the front. I mean, that's ridiculous. Oh, they're not really secured in the front either. Unbelievable. Okay, now the oil wicks look pretty dry, so that's likely the source of failure, just lack of lubrication, and so whatever was there dried up and ceased to work effectively. And we'll go ahead and clean this bearing out. Went in a little bit too far and picked up some of the grease. I'm going to try again because that probably smeared all over the bearing as I pulled it out. Great. That's just what we didn't want to happen. Try and be a little more careful this time. Maybe I'll just take that oscillation box off so I can get a good cleaning on it. Oh, what in the world? The grease is not where it's supposed to be. The grease is flipping everywhere. Oh, what a joke. The grease isn't supposed to go there. It's supposed to be in the gearbox. For heaven's sakes. No wonder the daggone bearings are all stiff, because they're covered in grease. There's hardly any grease in there. It's all outside. What? That's so stupid. Okay, well that's part of the problem. It's definitely part of the problem. So we need to take. Ugh, just got grease all over my person. What a disaster. This is really turning into a freak show. We need to take all this grease that's out here, which is a lot, and we need to put it in here where it belongs. Look at this. This is ridiculous. There's so much grease out here. What in the world? Okay, now the grease is where, well, kind of where it's supposed to be. It really needs to be all over this gear. And that's where it's really supposed to be. Should be all along this gear. That's good enough. Okay, I'm going to try and clean this up a little bit. And it's all on here too. What a mess. I don't understand. Isn't this put together by some machine, or is there somebody doing this? If there's a person doing this, they're not paying attention. And chances are there's a reason for that, but that's a whole other separate ethical issue we're not going to get into in this video, or in the comments box on this video. Okay, I gotta get another ticker towel, or I'll just use one of these dirty ones, because this is a dirty project anyways. Try and get all this excess lubrication cleaned out of here, because the grease is not going to work in the bearings. It's not, no. The bearings need oil, not grease. It's probably why it's all gummed up, because it's got grease in there. It's not supposed to. Really get this bearing cleaned out. Alright, it's coming out clean now, so we should be good there. It's just oil and grease everywhere, and the problem is that when you get dust flowing through here in the air, it's going to stick more so than if it was just dry and clean like it's supposed to be. So you really don't want there to be oil and grease everywhere. It's not correct. Oil should go in the bearings and nowhere else. Not just all over the stinking fan. Okay, I gotta go get a new thicker towel here. Okay, now let's fill up the oil wells. You can use 3-in-1 blue, which is for VNs. You should not be using 3-in-1 black. That's not for VNs. It's for other things. Or you can use the zooming spout oiler, which is specifically for electric motors. When I'm going to use this now because it's a little bit easier to get it in there. So we're going to put the oil all inside here and fill up this well, this wick rather. And the oil is just going to kind of seep into the cloth-like material in there. It will take a fair bit, maybe 5 or 10 drops. Let that sit for a little while. We'll go ahead and do that in the other one as well. Yeah, there was no oil in here whatsoever. Or if there was, it's all dried up. That one is taking quite a bit. Now we need to be careful here when I put this back in. When I try to avoid getting the grease into the bearing, it's pretty much impossible to avoid entirely, but we need to at least make a valiant effort here. scrape off as much of it from the outer surface as I can. I'll put a drop of oil on here. I think that blower has kind of gotten a lot of balance. Let's try to slip this through very carefully. It's spinning pretty nicely. Probably got grease all over the inside, but can't avoid it unless you take the grease off. It's not worth the time for something like this. There's just grease everywhere. Unbelievable. You know, I always thought that they weren't putting oil in there to save cost, but it's like they put plenty of grease and oil on here, they just didn't put it in the right stinking place. You can't get anything right. What a joke. Okay, that's stripped. That's not stripped. That's not stripped. Alright, now we'll put the front on. Oh, this is terrible. I hate the way this is designed. This is so stupid. just grab the wire. If they put half the amount of time into designing this to fail, as they did trying to make it a good product, it probably would have been a good product. Well, that's just a ground wire, so I'm going to leave it jacked up, but that wire is shot now. How would you put a wire feeding right under a screw? That is so stupid. There's absolutely zero way to get any kind of leverage on this screw and on this bolt. Or on the nut, rather. Keeps misthreading. Finally. If it was just the screw and the nut, it wouldn't be so bad. But you got this tiny little bolt, the washer there. It's just, no, not necessary. And on top of it, everything is slick because there's grease and oil all over the place. 200 beads for this piece of junk. That's unbelievable. I can't believe people fall for this. Bearings feel pretty good. I don't feel any play in them. It's turning freely enough for me. Okay, I think the motor is in pretty good operational condition at this point. Okay. Stop falling over. If you have a liquid spill, I'm not going to be happy. We had a brain cell spill trying to figure this stupid thing out. Okay. So now we get to fight to get it back together. Yeah, this is kind of unbelievable. And this is sharp here too. I could see this very easily getting cut if somebody wasn't paying attention when they're trying to get it off. Not good. I don't think it could really get cut during normal operation, but still, it's not good. Okay, looks like that's in there now. So I'll go ahead and screw this on. Now I got a stupid comment. There's a surprise. On the last difficult servicing video I did of the, it was on that Lakewood 1200 DX garbage. And this lunatic came into the box and they said, oh, the video should be called 3 hours of complaining, or some snarky comment like that. And it was comical to me because several other people came into the box and replied on that thread, calling them out for being stupid and obnoxious. It is exactly what they were doing. And then in typical fashion, when they realized that nobody here was going to agree with them or entertain them, they deleted the comments thread and pretended not to exist. And I just can't help but wonder with those people like that. They make commentary about performing the work on this stuff, and yet they probably don't even know how to use a screwdriver. Probably never pick one up in their life. But they'll come in here and they'll start talking. Stipacan. Okay. This thing has got a lot of screws, which, you know, if it was straightforward, would be okay, but the way this thing is at the bottom really is perturbing. Okay, what's next? Now we're getting grease and oil all over the finish, which I'm going to have to clean that up now, so this is just compounding. I think this probably should go on first. And of course, it's pretty much unreachable if it's like that, so I have to turn this on and rotate it. I'm going to leave it plugged in because some people think that you can't service equipment with it plugged in, but those people too likely have never picked up a screwdriver and just look at things in a textbook and think that that's reality, when it's not. Oh my gosh, I'm getting electrocuted as I screw in this screw with the cord plugged in. Give me a break. Stupid knows no bounds, it really doesn't. Alright, I think that's working. Yeah, it is. Gee, that was so dangerous to power it on like that. Oh my goodness. Oh, did I goof that? I goofed it. Oh, that was entirely my fault. I guess this does have to go on first because it goes like that. I will leave it unscrewed though. Perhaps if I pull it up it'll be easier. May run into an issue here with this now because the bottom part is all scored up. Oh well. I don't feel the need to put that on there anywhere near as tightly as it was originally. I think that was excessive. Although, I think, I guess it doesn't, maybe it doesn't matter. Seems to work just fine. I think this screw might have threaded completely into that hole. I don't know. Something doesn't seem quite right about the way it's sitting now. Well, I guess it is going to go in all the way. It still turns just fine, so good. Okay, let's see, what do we have here? This could be kind of confusing because it's a reverse thread screw, so we're really loosening it to tighten it, or using the loosening motion, loosening direction to try to tighten it. Dust up here. Okay, so that's the servicing of the motor, which is now in operating order. Some of the grease and oil off of here if possible. This is kind of ridiculous. It's too long. I may even put a even tie it up or something to make it a little bit better, because that's out of control to have it like that. No, that's ridiculous. There's gotta be something we can do to make that better. That's not a good idea. You can't just... You gotta do something about that. It's ridiculous. That's as far over as it's ever gonna go. What if we just did something like that? I guess one could argue probably puts more flex on the cord, maybe? I don't know. To me, that's just ridiculous the way that it was. I guess this is the direction that it puts more strain on it. So I'm going to say we'll tie it up like that, because otherwise it's just ridiculous. It's all over the place. I very, very seldom even use oscillation mode anyways, so I don't think it'll be an issue. I think that's much more reasonable. Motor seems to be running pretty good. Okay, let's go to the cleaning sink. I didn't even get the guards wet. I just did a dry wash on them. I just brushed them off. The dust came off real easy. Wasn't worth the time getting them wet and everything. So they're not perfect, but they're good enough. Restoration hardware, more like obsolete hardware. Okay. Let's see here. Where or... oh, here we go. There's just so many screws. They are all machine screws, though. I'll give it that much. Blade I did wash with water. Yes, it's still wet. No, I don't care. It'll dry off as soon as you turn it on. The set screw I like to screw in about maybe most of the way until it gets stiff. And then I back it off about a quarter turn. And it's moving in and out, so I know that the screw is on it moves in and out, but it stops, so I know that the set screw is in the notch where it's supposed to be. Okay. There's all grease on the inside of the stinking blade too, but I didn't bother to clean it off. How's the balance? Oh wow! The balance is good. Huh. Balance is fine. Yeah, there's no need to do any balancing. The balance is fine. That's kind of a surprise. Of course, we haven't really run it yet, so gotta give it some time, but they're a little better now. Bearings just seem a little bit on the stiff side to me still. I'm surprised the balance is as good as it is. That's very uncommon on modern fans for the balance to be really good. And it is pretty good. Well, this gave some trouble coming off initially, and it's giving a little bit of trouble going back on, but it's there now. And this is going to be really fun. I'm going to get these tiny little washers and bolts to line up. I mean, I get agitated when there's one of these things on the entire card. Now we got 8. That's just ridiculous. This alone will deter most people from ever even cleaning it. This was something I used a lot. Probably just put 2 of them in and be done with it, because it's excessive. 8. Too many. That blower definitely got out of balance somehow. That's kind of odd. This isn't so much hard, it's more so just tedious, and it requires people to have both a screwdriver and some kind of wrench, which a lot of people don't have. Okay, all the bolts are back on there, and it looked like there's all oil down here under where the switch is too. That is just, I am not ready to demonstrate you yet. That is just ridiculous. Alright, well that's good enough. I think that's all the time this thing is worth. It's presentatable, it's operable. What else can you ask for? Now that it works, let's see how it performs. Pretty typical performance for something like this. A lot of noise and not a whole lot of air. The flow is average at best. To me, it's even a little bit below average. Get some dust off of here. Sure is nice when the fans are just covered in non-sticky dust and it just brushes right off. Not much difference in speeds, which is also typical of these kind of fans. All air, more like all sound and no air. Yeah, pretty lousy airflow. I think a $16 oscillation fan from Home Depot moves as much air as this does with less noise. Like no difference. There's no pitch on the blades and the motor's not under any kind of load. You know, it's not terrible, but not worth 200 beans, that's for sure. I think I gave 5 beans for this. It's fine at 5 beans. It's fine at 20 beans. Any more than that? What a joke.